We were informed that Rick Joyner knew about this data mining, that Chris had already confessed this even before taking the job at Morningstar. And so we said, yeah, but what have you done to make it right with the victims? And so that was the plan. He was going to do what he could to make it right with those he had victimized. The problem is one of the pastors who was overseeing that church that invited Chris out where he had data mined, that pastor was no longer the pastor of that church. And at the time when Chris reached out to him, the pastor, his son had just died. He was in no place to deal with reconciliation and bringing some sort of restoration, allowing Chris to repent in front of that church and actually creating that connection to show that this man really does want to own his sin. But there was a couple of other things that happened in this exchange. One, I got some really, when Chris, he found out that I was asking questions about him, that I was poking around. One of the people that I had interviewed and asked questions about called up Chris and told him what I was doing. Chris then sent me some really strange text. Hey, I know that you're investigating me. Hey, I know that, and there was like a offer to give me money via PayPal, which is exactly what he did.
What's your Cash App?
Yeah, well, it's through PayPal, through Cash App. What's your Venmo? It was all those kind of things. And when we confronted Chris about that, he said, well, I just kind of had this idea that you're supposed to bless those who persecute you. And I felt like you guys were persecuting me about something that I had already repented for and tried to own. The problem is with all of this, and this is why we're bringing it up today, is while I think that Chris did acknowledge that he had done these sins, he didn't acknowledge every single person he had done this to. I don't think he knew exactly everybody who had come forward to us. While he did, though, attempt to try to make it right with that church, what was also happening was that there was information that we didn't know, that there was these other allegations of grooming this woman who was a student at the School of Ministry at Morningstar, that he had done the same thing, offered her money. It was like one allegation was siloed from the other allegation, and those who were bringing this allegation forward didn't know about this other one over here. And so what you're seeing is collectively, this is a person who's caught and is trying to get his way out of it without it becoming public. And even in the midst of this, I